You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We're a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests and repeat offenders on Ron Siegel Radio. Yeah, the Cuckoos are here. We've got Jim Norton and Blake Vartani and Realty Pro 100. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us back.
And I use that term lightly. Well, hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today. I got to watch out for these today. We've got National Peace Rose Day. Peace Rose Day.
It is what it is.
Now, this one here is one that if I open up this door, this could cause a lot of trouble. It's National Zipper Day. Yeah. Yes, and having beaten anorexia, Shrimp Scampi Day.
Oh,
I like that one.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
With the white wine.
I don't know about the white wine. To me, it's red wine or red wine.
You're definitely a red.
This might be the shortest show in your history. We're gonna go.
We're out of here. So, I wonder who's serving.
We know what we're doing.
Who's got shrimp?
We're gonna go solve this debate right here.
Who's got shrimp scampi? Yeah, we're gonna solve it. So I think we're settled on shrimp scampi. The thing that we have to settle is: are we going red wine or white wine?
Yeah, that's it.
I wish that Italian place was still around the corner there, over by Flappy's. There used to be that Italian restaurant.
There's still one down there.
Is there?
Mary's?
No, it was Boca's or something. I forgot.
Okay.
COVID changed everything.
At his age, he doesn't even remember these things.
No, I can't.
Okay, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up. Oh, wait a second. I forgot. Let's talk about this one. We've got a question of the day. So we need you to help us out with this one. Would you rather never age or never have to worry about money? Never age or never have to worry about. What do you say, guys?
I'm going money.
Money. Okay.
I'm going to go with the BS answer of saying I want the quality of life and never have to age.
Never have to age. Okay. So
I'm going against my capitalistic roots.
Well, you know something? I'm gonna go with Norton on this one.
Well,
I think
we got to remember, if that happened today, I get stuck at this age.
Yeah.
So I take the money.
I can understand that. So here's what
are you gonna do? Stop at 14?
So I bet you guys could say the same thing that I will. So I've had money and I've been broke.
Yes.
Oh,
it's a lot nicer having money.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
And you know something? I don't know if I want to live another 100 years, especially if Joe Biden is still president. That's a whole different thing. Yeah, would you rather put it in the comments for us? Would you rather never age or have to worry about money? So that's the question of the day. I see there's folks here, and I can't see your answers. Would you rather never age or never have to worry about money? Let's continue taking a look at what the markets are doing today. And we'll keep that question scrolling there along the bottom for those that join us late. Dow Jones is up 83 points. The S&P 500 is up 14. The NASDAQ up 51. Oil down 92 cents a barrel. But I'm going to guess. Now, I haven't really looked at it yet, but I'm going to guess that it's not going to help gas prices here in the formerly Golden State. Although I know Blake's a Tesla guy, so what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make that. Strike that from the record.
In what universe? He's the monster car guy.
Oh,
so
yeah. The evidence is the M5 out in the parking lot.
yeah, you probably can't even get the. You probably can't even use the standard unleaded gasoline.
No. I add gasoline additive octane booster. Every tank full. Stuff that says do not add to.
Do not add to. Okay,
use.
Jet fuel.
Yeah.
$5.40 a gallon is the average price of a gallon of gasoline. That's regular here in the formerly Golden State. $3.66 is the national average. The fake price for Josh is $4.58. Probably closer to what, $4.09, Josh? To usually take 50 cents a gallon off for what's legitimate where people live in Nevada as opposed to the statewide average. I don't know why they go with the statewide average, but that's what they do.
So can I say something on
Sure.
this? So I went to Texas and back over the course of a week, and the whole time I was out of California, I did not pay higher than $4.07 a gallon, and I saw it as cheap as $2.91 for super.
$2.91
for super
in Texas.
Along the
his road.
some of the
way.
truck
Okay.
stops and.
Well,
You know what I love is last week I spent some time at Pechanga.
Oh yeah.
Now I don't think Pechanga has to pay. I don't think the Indian reservations have to pay California taxes.
That's
No.
true.
Because
Yet their prices were higher than Costco prices.
Were they really?
So
no, they were.
yes, they were.
Really?
I was there.
We just came down 395 and we stopped to get gas at the little Indian casino gas station
Oh,
they
Bishop.
have
Right.
by Bishop.
But we weren't
Yeah.
talking about Taco Bell, Jim.
No,
Yeah.
Bishop.
And
and
we were talking about gas.
it was It was 422, so the
Wow.
taxes weren't there. I think they're just at Pechanga. They just know they can get them. They can get it better than Costco.
I guess because I went right down the street to the Costco 2 miles away and paid over $1 a gallon cheaper.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, so just saying.
Well, don't look at me. I've never won at Pechanga.
That's okay. I was there to work, so I wasn't gambling this time.
I usually
I actually
just toss
won.
my money as I drive by.
No, I actually won this time. The reason I didn't play, so I won.
Oh.
I left with the same amount of money as I came with, less the amount that I left at the
Gas
hotel.
station.
No, I didn't pay the gas station. Just throw that out there for you. Hey, something, I want to chat with you a little bit here about watching, and this kind of goes into something that Mr. Norton said that he wanted to chat about today. But, really, I want you to be careful of headlines. And nowadays, you got to really be careful, even more than we used to, because Bloomberg, now you got to love some of these places. They're supposedly a financial paper or a financial institution. So what does Bloomberg come out with? And this week, we've got all kinds of news coming out. We've got the Federal Reserve starts their meeting tomorrow. They're going to give us their report on Wednesday of what they're planning on doing. Nothing. And they're going to tell us what they're seeing in the future, which is all messed up because they don't really look at real numbers. We've talked about that. I've given you the examples. Then we're going to have jobs reports on Wednesday and on Friday. So we've got all these things coming up. But what does Bloomberg do? They went and put into their artificial intelligence. Now, I'm not going to even go there. They captured 60,000 headlines in an article. And this was an article that was from yesterday on Bloomberg. And it says, powered by natural language processing algorithm. That's the fancy word for saying AI. Based on 60,000 Fed headlines show that in December, Powell delivered a major pivot by hinting at a swifter shift toward rate cuts. Did he really? So he talks about this. Now, 60,000 headlines, it makes it sound like a lot. But think about this. What are headlines? Are the headlines ever accurate, or are they really geared to get you to click the story?
Mm-hmm.
Yet Bloomberg, that's what they're using for the basis of their article, is the clickbait headlines. Now, in there, they talk about the growth rate in the second half of 2023 was brisk. And even as the GDP missed expectations, a 3.1% expansion in sales to U.S. firms and households showed the economy continuing to hum at the start of 2024. Maybe I might be missing it, and I know that we get these numbers come out incorrectly, but wasn't the GDP like 1.6 for the first quarter, first reading? So half of what it was for 2023, first quarter 2023 misses by 50%, and that's continuing to hum. Now they go on.
Is that the adjusted?
Adjusted what?
You know,
no, the first reading.
Over the course of 2023, every report that came out, so many weeks later, they were adjusted. unemployment was
every month,
every time.
Oh yeah, they every month they adjust them. But when by the time you get to the first quarter, first reading of GDP, you've already had the final of the prior cycle in. So we've got the number. It's 3.4 for supposedly for the GDP number for 2023. But when you cut it in half in the following month, is that still humming right along? Yeah. Loretta Mester, Fed president of Cleveland, she's come out and said, with the 525 basis points of hikes, that's 5.25%, the Fed has delivered since March of 2022, are not sufficient to tame inflation. Ms. Mester, let me explain inflation to you, because I know that you're having this issue, this challenge, and I know Josh is going to kill me because we're over time. So we're looking at inflation numbers being at 3.8%. If we take out housing, which the Federal Reserve cannot control, and we take out auto insurance, that's 3.4% out of 3.8%. Now, if my math is correct, 3.8, take away 3.4, carry the 1 plus, that's a 0.4 is the difference. That's what inflation is at right now, is 0.4% on everything excluding housing and auto insurance. That sounds pretty sufficient to tame inflation to me, Ms. Mester. And the thing that really got me when I looked at this whole report is I've got to find down here because I want to make sure I get it right. It's in I highlighted it just so I could find it quickly, which obviously I have not done. So the other part of this is you gotta love this. You gotta love this. I can't find where I thought I highlighted it. The Federal Reserve is saying in here that by raising interest rates, that raises wages, which is good for the economy.
It's good for taxation. That's about it.
I mean, can anybody exactly? I mean, can you imagine them actually saying it in a Bloomberg article that higher interest rates is actually better for the economy because it helps wages?
You have to be a moron to believe that. I'm sorry. There's no nicer way to say it. I mean, you can't make things more expensive and then somehow drive down
burger
costs.
that just went up?
Yeah, so you're In-N-Out burger. I mean, I just saw a thing for Five Guys.
In-N-Out was paying 20 before, but let's say McDonald's. McDonald's was $14 or something they said for
Okay, here's our last chance of getting for the question of the day. Would you rather never age or never have to worry about money? I want to get that put into the comments. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, Jim Norton has the truth about real estate. Now's a great time to sell your house. All that and more. Reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. Let's see what rates did on Friday. That's the latest data that's available because we don't have the averages for today yet. 30-year conforming rates, those dropped 7.222. 30-year jumbo rates dropped 7.242. 30-year FHA loans, those dropped 6.86. 30-year USDA loans, 6.84. Those dropped. And the best loan on the market, the 30-year VA loan, 6.724. That one dropped as well. All of them are down for the week. If you want our market commentary every morning as early as the data allows, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. Let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets today. We did talk about this a little bit earlier. The S&P 500 is now down 15.85. 10-year Treasury is down 4 basis points. 4.626 is where that is. That's the yield. And the mortgage-backed securities, those are up 16 basis points, which means interest rates are down ever so slightly. Those are down 16 basis points. What's driving all this? Well, you look at technicals on a day like today, because really the market's just kind of fluttering along. It's not going to do a whole heck of a lot when you've got so much news coming out this week. Everyone's just kind of sitting on their hands. And if you're thinking about locking a loan, or if you're wondering, should I lock or should I float? The question becomes, what's your risk tolerance? Because who knows what this week is going to bring when you've got the Federal Reserve talking. We know they're going to do nothing, but then they start asking Jerome Powell questions, and that's when the fireworks start. We've got the job openings and labor turnover rate coming out. We've got the ADP report coming out. We've got the BS report coming out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The payroll report coming out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They're going to be wrong because they're always wrong, and then they have to revise it every single time. Ironically enough, some of the numbers that come out anymore are statistically impossible to not be manipulated. Statistically impossible. I was listening to our friend Danielle DiMartino Booth talking about the first-time unemployment numbers. Think about this. 50 states, 3,007 counties, all reporting unemployment numbers independently and using their own metrics. Yet they've come out 5 out of the last 7 weeks. 2 of those weeks had holidays in them. But 5 out of the last 7 weeks, the number was within 0.5% of each other. Almost always right at 210 to 212,000 filing first-time unemployment benefits. The possibility of that happening, statistically impossible without manipulation. Is there manipulation going on at the Bureau of Labor Statistics? And you wonder why I call it the BS report. Just throw that out there for you. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. So every day we look at our guests and ask and say, what is it that's going on in the marketplace? What are you seeing? And we ask them to forecast because they book usually 3 to 6 weeks in advance. And Jim Norton made a comment, and we're going to go into this one further. Your comment in there, the headline for the show today was going to be "The Truth About Real Estate." I want to hear your thoughts here.
The truth.
You can't handle the truth.
You can. Yeah, I would. The truth is this question that everybody always asks: is it a good time or is it a bad time to buy or sell real estate? And I always say it's a good time because they always want a quick answer.
Yeah, that's because you sell real estate.
Well, that's true. But at the same point, I also own real estate, and I'm looking at what I'm doing with my real estate and how I'm dealing with my investments.
So, are you buying or are you selling?
I'm actually considering selling right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and but that's sort of more towards the package of retirement strategy.
Okay.
And
so it's part of your game plan.
Yes, part of the game plan.
Gotcha.
From that standpoint, me and the CEO of my company, which would be my wife, are still we're in negotiations that I'm not.
Wait, how long have you been married?
I'm not waiting. 23 years.
23 years.
24. Well, 24 this year.
24 years.
I'm on the zero. I started on 0, so I can't miss. I just got to look at what year it is.
But you just missed.
And I just missed. Yeah.
So you're married long enough to realize that you don't get a vote.
Oh, I knew that in the first 6 weeks.
That's about the way it goes, right?
Yeah, it didn't take long at all.
Okay.
But so then they say, well, why is it a good time? And it's like, because at this point in time, the present, you know what's going on. You can make a decision based on what you know. If you try to project the future, there's no one has ever successfully predicted the market. There's a couple of people guess right, but it's not a prediction, and you can't go back. I mean, if I could, I'd there's a couple of years I'd go back to it and I say I should have bought that, shouldn't have sold that. I mean, if I could go back in time, that would be a really good deal. But what you can't control is right now. So right now, interest rates are at 7. You know what you're dealing with. You know what they are. You can make the mathematical calculation to figure out the financing of that. Are they going to go up in between now and the election? Probably not. It's election year. The guy in office doesn't want something like that to kill his chances, but the guy wanting to get in office wants that to kill his chances. So that's a whole meal of politics. But the reality is we kind of know they're going to float around 7. We're not going to get down to 5. We're not going to get up to 8. Well, we could creep up to 8, but we're not going to jump to 14. They're going to do everything they can to keep it right about where it's just.
So why does that mean it's good? Why does that make it a good time to sell?
Because you have on that particular issue, you have knowledge and you can do your calculations. If you have a good realtor that can give you the ups and downs and the ins and outs of the calculations, I won't go into that. I'm just trying to keep it simple. And then
I'm a simple guy.
Yeah, simple guy. Secondly, the market itself, there are houses for sale, and the houses that are for sale are selling, and the prices are not appreciated as fast. In fact, they're fluctuating a little up and down depending on the quality of the product being sold. Obviously, the complete remodel and location, they're selling quicker and they're closing, whereas the others are fluctuating a little. But I do notice a lot of back on markets. So that means somebody's not doing their homework. There's one way or the other. I heard, there's one home in my neighborhood that fell out. It went in. It fell out based on the home inspection, and there was too many things on the list that the buyer didn't want to tackle and deal with. But at the same time, I don't think that the seller was made aware by the realtor that, you know, these are things we're going to be watching out.
Okay,
for.
so let's go back to what you said before, though, Jim. So you're thinking about selling, and historically, real estate prices go up, right? So I think we've got a chart, and I don't know if Josh has that available. We had a chart that we showed. I think it was in last month's market report, but I'm not positive. That says other than 2006. For the last 60 years, real estate's always gone up over any 10-year period.
Right.
So my question, and that's so when you have a 60-year history, we can't guarantee the future, but we can think that the future the past projects the future.
Right.
So now the question becomes, if you take that out, if you sell that real estate, I'm assuming there's appreciation there.
Well, yeah. I mean, now
what are you going to do? What are you going to invest in?
That's the rub.
Okay.
You know, because obviously you're up against the capital gains.
Right.
And I know your friend.
Which I don't want to get into capital gains taxes, but the current budget that's been submitted by the President of the United States
yeah,
says 59% capital gains tax for the state of California.
You know,
that's what he's projecting. That's what he's proposing.
You want to know? You want to know where I heard that? This is a testament.
Ron Siegel Radio.
No, this is a testament to what's out there. My 17-year-old son, he says, "Dad, capital gains is the one you talk about all the time. The gain on every." I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Did you know Biden wants to put it up to over 40%?
45% federal,
I hadn't even caught that yet.
45% federal, 13.6% state.
Yeah, he had caught that and knew what that meant, and I loved it because it's like, okay, you know, because I mean,
so then
honestly,
he might be
everything we're doing today is going to give them the bill.
He might be able to pass our test then. I'm serious.
Oh no, the one you advertised right before.
Absolutely,
that's got to be I haven't looked at that, but that's
rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. And at the end of May, we're actually going to give away a trip to Nashville. Just a random trip. Doesn't matter who's got the highest score. rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
Oh, I'll have him take it because he wants to go to Nashville.
He wants to go to Nashville. Yeah. Okay. Blake, what do you think? I mean, you're an investor guy. Do you think you should cash out?
Well, certainly if you're going to sell anytime in the next couple of years, this is a great time to seriously consider it, because the amount of inventory you're competing against is at historic lows, and the demand is high, and you know, it seems like there's no interest on the part of, pardon the word interest, but there's no intent on the part of the current people in power, whether it's Jerome Powell or the administration, to promote lower interest rates and to create an environment that's, I mean, in the past, we've had tax incentives to drive the housing market. We've had,
I think you've got to add California into the federal picture too, because Gavin's trying to close a $73 billion gap. Those guys are scrambling to see what they can do to.
We're going to continue this conversation when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Now's a great time to sell your house. I wonder how we got that into this situation today. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numero 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com. Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Now's a great time to sell your house.
Or simply where you think you can afford. If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing
about selling your house? If you are, you might be weighing factors like today's mortgage rates and your own changing needs to figure out your next move. Here's something else to ponder. According to the latest Home Price Sentiment Index, HPSI from Fannie Mae,
all you need to do
the
is
percentage of respondents who say it's a good time to sell is on the rise. I mean, Jim Norton's a bandwagger. I'm not. Okay, so why are sellers feeling so optimistic? One reason why is because right now is traditionally the best time of year to sell a house. Recent article from Bankrate says, quote, late spring and early summer are generally considered the best times to sell a house. While today's rates are relatively high, low inventory is still keeping sellers in the driver's seat in most markets, unquote. These are the seasons when most people move. That means buyer demand grows, and because there still aren't enough homes for sale to meet that demand, sellers see some serious perks, according to Rocket Mortgage, quote, homes that are listed at the end of spring and the beginning of summer typically sell faster at a higher sales price, unquote. What does this mean for you? More sellers are coming to realize conditions are ripe for a move, and that's one reason why we're seeing more homeowners put their homes up for sale. If you think you might want to get in on the action, it's a good idea to start preparing. A local real estate agent can help you get your house ready by offering advice on how best to fix it up and make it appealing to buyers in your area. They also know if you list during the peak buying season of spring and early summer, you might sell quickly for a higher price. Bottom line, if you list during the spring and early summer, you might sell your house quickly and for a higher price. When you're ready to make the most of today's seller's market, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And those of you that are thinking about selling and don't have a plan, I'm just going to throw this out there. The government, the president has proposed a 45% capital gains tax. I am not giving you tax advice, but I will tell you, take a look at the Home Select product, proprietary from Geneva Financial, rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. Pull out some of the equity with an effective APR. I just looked at one that I'm doing for a speech I'm giving tomorrow. It was 2.5% effective APR, 30 years. 2.5% effective APR, 30 years. And you actually have access to all of the equity, or most of the equity in your property. Not all of it, most of the equity in your property. rsrhomeselect.com. That is Real-Time Real Estate, brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, chatting with Jim Norton, Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100, chatting about just a couple guys talking about real estate. And, you know, some of us have been in real estate for at least since the last century. I just throw that.
Actually, had a full head of hair when I started.
Yeah, and I is it true that the first person you consulted on real estate was Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
just throw that out there
that
for
log
you.
cabin, that was kind of needed some work.
Needed some work. So Blake, you were saying in the last segment about the idea of selling real estate now, and where do you go? What do you do? What's the ideas?
Well, and that's part of the, I guess, the challenge, right? So you never know until you start. And I always say, you know, the best thing to do is find out how much is your home worth. And the way you find out is not by getting a competitive market analysis. You find out by putting it on the market and seeing what a willing buyer is going to pay in an open market. Because your house,
but isn't that too late then?
No, because you can always have the contingency of finding the replacement property. And if you don't find it within a certain period of time, the whole deal just doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
So I would say it's a multi-step process, of which if you're waiting for it all to line up before you start, it's almost impossible to get it all to line up. And so I would say you take the first step, and the first step is you do obviously want to price it right. And I always believe that if you price it just under the market, what the competitive market analysis comes out to by, reputable real estate professionals or an appraisal from an independent appraiser, you're going to find more buyers interested in your property, which is going to create more traffic, which is going to drive up the potential offers you're going to get. And then the person who gets that, depending on, their own integrity and whether they're tying it up just to tie it up, or the question today in the contract world is, when we used to, in the beginning of real estate profession of my career, when you signed a real estate contract, it was binding on both parties. Now it's only binding on the seller, and the buyer can walk anytime during the contingency period. There were no contingencies when I started. It was just, you just bought it.
It's kind of harder now, because now you can do everything on a computer.
Yeah.
When you wrote the contract then, I mean, it took a long time to chisel it into the stone.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you walked away from the deal in the old days, you lost your earnest money. Today, your earnest money is pretty hard to make it at risk. I mean, you've got to make a lot of mistakes to actually have exposure.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah,
California deposit goes back to you.
It's almost a silly idea anymore, because the money isn't really there for any serious intent. It's and the contract is more like a lease option, because the buyer can walk at any point, but the seller's stuck. And so, I always advise the client, don't sign it unless you're willing to go through with it, with all the contingencies in place. So if you can't find that replacement property within 10 or 17 days, whatever's there, then we just withdraw from the process. And so I would say, you within every market,
might have a realtor that might not be too happy after putting all the money into marketing and prep and all that.
But your intent is correct. I mean, your intent is genuine. I mean, I've often started the journey of putting the house on the market, not knowing, what the outcome was ultimately going to be. We have a general idea, right. But if you wait to find that property that you really want, and then you try and make the offer subject to, the contingency of selling your own property, you actually have a weaker offer than the other people who don't have a contingency.
Sure. So that's why we use the transition loan at Geneva Financial.
Well, you got to have the solution. See, and I don't have those.
There's a couple of good products. There's some good products out there. You've been advertising Select and that. Those are good financing products. And as you said before, I agree with you, is interest rate or finance package is stronger than a price. Because if you can have everything you want, it's
Oh,
that
so-
is the best deal you can get, rather than worrying about whether or not I got $20,000 off.
Yeah, because the 20,000 off is not anywhere close to, a 1/4% cheaper.
Right.
Right, 1/4% cheaper is going to save you a whole lot more money. Okay, so the idea here is that we want to continue to find out what the property is really worth.
Right. And so the example, the way I say that is because we had a comped out property in Anaheim Hills that recently came on the market at 1.695 million, or somewhere in that 1.699, who's quibbling over a couple of $1,000, but it ended up closing at 1.9 million. So the sellers ended up with 200,000 more than their expectations. And then when they, so when they went back out if you go back out into the marketplace, you may not have to pay that premium to get the next property. It just depends what the family's goals and objectives are.
But that becomes the comp for the last one, though. For the next one.
In the neighborhood.
In that neighborhood.
Right. They're not buying back. So I wouldn't buy back in my own neighborhood under that circumstance. But I think for a lot of people, the smart thing to do would be to sell their 3,000 square foot house. It's a 2-story. They're my age or older. I'm 65. So, let's say you're older, you're sitting in a house with just you and your wife, or, 2 people sitting there in the biggest house you've owned. Well, what would be the harm of exploring? Why don't we look at selling this and doing a replacement property of buying a 4-plex and living in one of the 4-plex units and renting out the other 3 and creating wealth that way in the next chapter, and having a single story
Right.
living condition that's big enough, because there are 4-plexes that have 1,400 square feet in the bigger unit in the 4-plex, and that for a lot of people that's enough. I mean, it's not, I'm not here to tell somebody what to do. I'm just showing them what's available.
Options.
Yeah.
Which is what a good advisor does.
Right.
Is to educate. You're more of an educator than anything else.
Right. Yes, that's all it is. It's really an education process.
Now, one of the things we want to really be careful of is, again, be careful of the media, because I just looked this morning and I almost fell over when I looked at this. So, I frequently will look at market reports, and I looked at Yorba Linda, California, and I looked and I said, okay, the inventory in Yorba Linda is up 30%.
Yeah, from 10 to
Right?
13.
So it went from 34 to 42.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
Right.
you
So
go.
there's still nothing available.
And that's in 2 zip codes, right?
Well, whatever
Or
the
is that
whole
just
city
one
is.
zip code?
That's
There's
the entire
two-
city.
That's the
of
whole
Yorba Linda.
city.
The whole
And that's
Yeah.
not even normally what's in just 92886.
Right. So you got to be aware. I mean, the inventory is still not there. There's still a lot of pent up demand. But let's throw this at you guys. So here's my thought: is the 3 of us are old, right? And we've seen interest rates
And
all.
I've been told that by others too. Very recently.
so-
didn't feel good, but I had to hear
Yeah,
it.
my kids tell me that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I
So-
get that.
So when we look at interest rates and the fact that last Friday, the jumbo rates, if I put my glasses on, I can see was close at 7.24. To me, that's not a high number relative to the last 10 years. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
relative to the last 10, I agree.
And that's part of the problem I'm having at this stage of my career is most of my career interest rates were over 8%.
Right.
Yeah.
So and I started it, they were 18, 19, 20%. So when I sit down, I have a different energy about my belief system than the person who's sitting there going, I'm freaking out because 5 years ago interest rates were, 2.75%, and they've never experienced what it's like to talk to a client who's got a substantial mortgage payment and how to make it work for them.
But that was
Well, when
not-
we come back, I want to talk to you about interest rates, because that's the big issue. And is the general population, especially the millennials, are they starting to get comfortable with these rates? That's a question we're going to talk about when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Borrow Smart segment today, brought to you by RSRDebtFree.com, RSRDebtFree.com. Here it is. I tell you all the time, if you cannot pay off all of your unsecured debt in the next 60 days, what are you looking at? Credit card debt averages right now 22.84% is the average of all credit cards. 22.84. If you've got more than 60 days worth of debt, you're probably paying closer to 30%. RSRDebtFree.com. Take a look at either the debt consolidation if you've got equity in your property. If you don't own property, our friend Chris Corrales has the program for you. Just showed somebody the other day how they can wipe out $75,000 in private student loans and credit card debt. They're going to get the interest rate down to 0 and pay it off over 5 years and pay significantly less money than they're paying right now. If you haven't explored that, rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. That's the Borrow Smart segment. Continue your conversation with Jim Norton and Blake Vartanian. We're chatting about interest rates and the issue of what we're seeing, because as you noticed, only one of us on the set here has hair. I'm just throwing that out there for you.
He's actually the oldest guy.
So the old guy has hair.
Not sure how that happened.
Okay.
Not sure.
It must be genes or a good doctor.
Well, see,
And there's no evidence of a
Mom's
new-
100 years old,
Yeah,
so I'd
I
say
know,
I
right?
might have some genes.
What's
Yeah.
what's that starts with a B? The guy that does the hair implants.
Oh,
Whatever. Okay, so the three of us have seen interest rates that are high, but our kids think that interest rates above 4 are
True, very true.
are non-existent.
Yeah.
So maybe we're getting. How long is it going to take, or are we already at a point where people are starting to say, you know, something? What interest rates aren't going to get down to that 3 or 4%. And in my opinion, we don't want them there because that means we've got some other major issues in our economy.
Well, you also don't forget you have the career curve in there, and what I mean by the career curve is
I was going to say I don't usually talk about curves on Ron Siegel Radio because I am in shape as long as you consider round a shape.
we're talking about the spectrum curve.
Okay.
But in this case, as the millennials are coming into their 30s and they're moved up in the careers, they're making significant dollars. They're making some great salaries, and so they're looking at it. They're getting under their belt 2, 3, 4 years of paying taxes on that money with no offsets. So all of a sudden they're going, okay, we need to do something to offset this. Somebody said they're if they go to a tax guy or if they look on TurboTax says, why don't you buy a house? Now then they start paying more attention. Then they start doing is one thing is they're bright people. It's a bright group of people. There's no question. And
we get to see that firsthand because of our first Home IQ relationship and the quiz we're doing. rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
Never miss a moment to shamelessly promote yourself.
It's shameful how he sets me up.
It's not me promoting myself. It's a nonprofit organization, and
but
we're just helping them to get the word
follow
out.
what I'm saying is
Absolutely.
they're seeing the benefits of home ownership, and they're starting to jump in. And I don't know who's guiding them most of the time, but I'm seeing a lot more of that.
Well, through our relationship again with First Home IQ, they are finding that because they do a survey every year of millennials and Gen Z.
Okay.
And that's their big business, is doing these surveys. And they're coming out saying, you know, something, the millennials are ready to start buying houses.
Yeah.
Right. They do still. It's not like the media where they're saying rent forever and that's going to be good for you. No, that's not the idea.
Right.
That's not good.
Well, and they've already missed. I mean, I read an article recently where that generation is the most in debt of any generation at that age because they don't have real estate in their portfolios appreciating and keeping their financial balance sheet in check, right? So because through most of our lifetimes we benefited from the equity and
all discretionary income,
right?
To have fun,
right? And so when you're borrowing and your house isn't appreciating, you know, how many people use their house to eventually refinance their debt? Well, if you don't have that refinance ability.
So should I throw that in here?
Yes, absolutely.
RSR, here we go.
Teeing it up for you as best I knew how.
RSRdebtfree.com.
RSRdebtfree.com to reverse mortgages and what.
Blake, set that on the tee for him. I think he can kick it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad he figured it out.
Yeah.
So, but you know, that's just an accounting issue right there, because it's not like the millennials are saving any more than the rest of us.
No.
But when you go and you buy the house, you've got a $500,000 house that appreciates at 5%. That's an extra $25,000 into the net worth side of the balance sheet.
Yes.
Now,
and even though you added $20,000 in credit card debt, you're still $5,000 better off.
Absolutely.
Now you did hit something on right now when you said the accounting side. Unfortunately, these people in this generation, I want to say kids, but that's not the way to say it.
Young people.
The young people
everybody's young compared to Jim.
They didn't have the classes in basic accounting, basic budgeting.
That's exactly
that is one thing they are lacking, that you actually have to remember to bring bring them.
That's
through
what our
that.
friends over at First Home IQ have discovered,
Uh-huh.
and that's why they're out there on this mission to deliver financial literacy.
Yes,
is because
thank you. That's a better word.
Because what they've found out is that the millennials and Gen Z are so busy dealing with garbage stuff in school that they're not getting the what you and I all had home economics.
I was just
right?
going to say home
and we
economics.
had to carry that little envelope
Yeah.
around with us, and we had to pay our electric bill and gas bill and write a check. And
Yep.
the young people don't have that in school right now because they're dealing with. Well, I'm not going to go with what they're dealing with, but
exactly. We understand.
The state regulations are putting an emphasis on things other than what some of us know as pragmatics.
Yes.
Right? The things, and so our young people have been left out.
Yeah.
So if you want more information on this, give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990 at ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.